She's new to the job, but she isn't new to the streets of Calgary. Katie McLellan stepped into the role of police chief this past May and immediately set her mind to tackling issues around public safety and social disorder. McLellan wants more officers visible on the front line, and she wants Calgarians to feel confident in every quadrant of our city. She sat down recently with our Jefferson Humphreys to talk about how she plans to do it.
Chief McLellan, thanks for taking the time
to
talk about the year that was and I guess the year that will be.
Thank you.
It's been a busy one for you. We'll get into that in a second. I first just want to start with a bit of a look forward to next year in light of the budget that was just passed.
Yeah, you bet.
Some new money, obviously, in the area of $50 million for CPS.
You bet.
I guess the first question, I know some of that's going to staffing. Is it enough? I know that's been a concern of yours.
So typically a mid-cycle budget adjustment, we're not asking for much. Some of it's just a couple of tweaking here and there. And so as you said, some of it's for some support positions, some disclosure folks to comply with legislation, some back to work folks, some money for our fleet helicopter, or for our fleet budget and for our Hawk helicopter budget, and of course some maintenance. So I don't think people realize we've actually got 41 buildings. So we either own or lease 41 buildings. And with that comes some maintenance. And so we've got a couple of them where the roofs are starting to cave in. So we needed some money for that. And then there was some tweaking just around some budget things and some reserves and so forth. So a fairly small ask in the big scheme of things, and kind of planting some seeds for what next year is going to look like, because next year will be a bigger ask.
Stick with the budget, $7.5 million for pedestrian collisions to deal with that. It has been, I certainly don't remember a year like this where we've seen this many. I guess the $7.5 million, what will that look like? Where can that be spent? And do you think it will have the impact it needs to?
Yeah, so as you said, Jefferson, so I think we've surpassed now the 10-year high with fatalities. We're now at 35, just absolutely tragic. I think 14 of those are pedestrians. And a majority of those fatalities are speed, distracted driving, and impairment. And so we work closely with a lot of partners. You will have seen over these last couple of days the blitzes that we're doing with impaired driving and so forth, the joint operations that we do with our peace officers and sheriffs and other traffic members. We're working with the city for Vision Zero and really trying to get that down. So a lot of that money will go to education, to awareness. There's lots of new young drivers. As we talked about, a city that's going to be 1.6 million people here real quick. We'll be surpassing 2 million here in the next several years. And so with that comes a lot of new drivers, a lot of vehicles on the road. And so we will be working with all those partners to see how we can prevent those collisions. And some of that money is probably going to go towards, road reconfinement. And when we build the new roads, pardon me, what does that look like going forward so that we can mitigate that as much as we can?
I think a lot of Calgarians would have seen the big downtown blitz that CPS did. I guess it was just into the winter, just late fall. As you mentioned before, a lot of this is mental health, a lot of this is addiction. And so whether or not a one-day blitz would have the impact that you hope to have on some of the issues you've seen downtown.
Yeah, so as you can imagine, my door has been a revolving door with respect to concerns in a lot of the communities throughout the city with respect to social disorder and mental health, unwanted people. As I said, we are starting to see an increase in street robberies and assaults, a 20% in fact increase in the downtown core. And so, again, it's heartbreaking, the individuals who are down there, who are homeless, who have mental health and addiction issues. And so we've tried some different things and we've had some impacts. So we had a 3-month blitz earlier in the year and somewhat similar to Operation Order, but it had different impacts. And one of the pieces that I was hoping would be a bit better would have been the high visibility and the feedback from people who live downtown, the people who frequent downtown, the people who work downtown. And they said, you know what, we actually didn't see enough. And we still have concerns about the perceptions of safety. I've been very clear that we cannot let this city get like other cities where people are afraid to go into certain areas in the city. And so it's one of many. We will continue to do that. We have redeployed some of our resources in the downtown core so that it is not just a one-off.
I want to wrap up just with, this is for you a few months into the job. You're looking ahead to a full calendar year with this position. What has been the biggest challenge, and what do you anticipate will be the biggest challenge going forward into 2026?
Not enough hours in the day.
Right.
So, I'm really a people person, and doing our best to engage, my team and I, doing our best to engage with many members across the service. So it's been fantastic. They're just incredible members in the service who do incredible things every day. I get a briefing note at 6 p.m. every day and 6 a.m. 7 days a week, and just talk about the highlights that go on in the city, but that's just a very, very small pebble in the ocean. And so lots of great work, lots of amazing things that happen behind closed doors, lots of things that many people do to keep this city safe. But going forward, we're looking at our frontline deployment and our investigative capacity. How can we be more efficient? How can we be more effective with the resources that we have and that we hope to get? Of course, as we talked about, traffic safety and social disorder will obviously be priorities.
But it sounds to you like there's an internal thing that you also want to take on, just in terms of getting to know almost the force better.
Totally. If I could get to know all 3,222, that'd be a miracle. We're doing our best to engage. We do lots of different things to interact and have opportunities to speak with our membership. But having that communication, having that opportunity to speak with them, there was a survey that we got, we saw a bit of an increase. There's still a lot to do. But the members that I am speaking with and the rest of my team is speaking with, it's about enhancing those partnerships and relationships internally and externally. So, you know what? I think it's been a very positive 7 months for sure. People are optimistic, people are committed, and they are loyal to keeping this city safe.
Wish you luck for 2026, Chief McLellan, and thanks so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
And since that interview was recorded, one more pedestrian has been killed in Calgary, bringing the number to 15.